Hey, what's going on? Welcome to episode 8 of Fpl Hotline. I'm your host, Matt Tomo, joined as always by Tazz, Gasch, and C4. What's up, guys?
Hey.
All right.
C4 is joining us from his cottage somewhere in the Canadian wilderness. So if his signal cuts out,
in the wilderness, yeah.
He'll be back. We'll figure it out.
I just want to make note. Thanks for leaving me for last in the introductions. You should save the best for last. After 3 weeks, I'm dominating you guys in our personal league. So you guys better pick up the slack. Otherwise, FPL Hotline is just a bunch of amateurs.
Yeah, I was looking at it. Yeah, what was that? It just took 30 seconds to shit on us real quick.
That's not the schedule.
Good thing.
That's not in the episode notes.
Good thing the season ends.
Okay, we can finish,
right? C4.
The episode now. I mean, thank God for you. Otherwise, it'd be relegation, right?
How about we start the episode first?
No, I'm going to safe.
All right, so let's start off with our takeaways from game week 3. If you guys want to take turns, just giving me whatever 1, 2, 3 takeaways, whatever you got. Tazz, I know you had a couple written down.
If you could. Key takeaways, Everton obviously still continuing with their strikers returning points. Definitely looking like even like a must own for both of them. I know Werner. Another thing was for me, I owned Werner captain. He was unlucky not to score, hit the post, hit the crossbar, and his price dropped also. But he did score in the game, middle of the game week in the cup match. So maybe hopefully it turns around. I also another key takeaway kind of was after the games happened. I saw a lot of people are transferring on Mitrovic, but I'm still keeping him. He is taking the most shots in the whole league out of strikers. Yes, his shot selection isn't the best, but I feel like at 6 million he's still on penalties, and it looks like there's so far this season has been double the amount of penalties as last season. So kind of give him another chance.
A lot of people getting rid of him. That's pretty early. I feel like he's still an option, definitely. Gash, what did you see this week?
I saw a lot of crap. There were a lot of blanks by a lot of players that everyone captained. So I also captained Werner in the Chelsea play on Saturday. So then my whole day Sunday was spent praying that De Bruyne didn't haul, and then my whole day Monday was spent praying that Salah didn't haul. And thankfully neither of them did either. So it was really more of a defensive game week. Again, I have the double Liverpool defense, so I got a lot of clean sheets and bonus points and a goal from Robbo there, so that was good. And I think Taz makes a funny point about Mitrovic, about all the shots in the box. I think Fulham have the most crosses in the league so far, so their game plan really reminds me of that one FIFA where you just spam crosses into the box and have a tall guy to head the ball always. So I'm also not getting rid of him.
I think that was FIFA 14.
Yeah, it might have been. But I'm also not getting rid of him yet because they don't really seem to have any other ideas than to just lob the ball up to Mitrovic. And I think he'll at least it's not a good game plan for Fulham, but it's a good game plan as an FPL player who owns Mitrovic.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get how many goals would you be happy with at 6.0? I'd say I'd be happy with 10 or 11 goals from him on the year. I think he had 11 last time he was in the Prem 2 years back. C4, what were your takeaways from this week?
I felt pretty good about a couple of things. The first being calling that Chelsea was going to have difficulties early on in the year, and that Werner wasn't exactly a bang-on nailed premium forward option. And also just seeing how people's wild cards went this week made me feel pretty good about making the decision to sit tight and be patient. The only thing that I was mad about this week really was my boy Podence getting injured before I could bring him in. So now I'm kind of stuck here, stumped on who I should bring in for ASM.
Yeah, I mean, better than being in my situation where I actually did bring Podence in, and now I don't know what to do with him.
And you played your wild card.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. My takeaway is that my wild card fucking sucked, man. Oh, man, I'm so frustrated this year already. This is more frustration than I had the last 2 years combined, probably. Maybe it's because we're doing the podcast and I'm really into it, but I was pissed this weekend, bro. Nothing worked in my favor. I scraped together some points on the last day of the game week on Monday. Got that Robertson and Trent returns, but yeah, not a good game week. Not a good wild card at all. So let's move on. So move on to Manchester City here. Gabriel Jesus suffered a injury. Looks like he's going to be out for about a month, maybe more. So let's just talk about what are some of the impacts on the rest of the squad. Obviously, if you have Jesus, it's a big impact for you. But I don't think he was too highly owned. So, this could mean a lot of different things for KDB. Could mean a lot different for Sterling, especially maybe he takes over some of that goal-scoring duties. A lot of people are more excited about Foden. So Tazz, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are excited also about Mahrez. He started a striker, but in the cup game, Sterling was playing up top, so it's kind of like a risk to see who actually starts up top. In terms of City, you can't really predict what Pep's going to do. I think now with injuries, I think also Bernardo Silva's injured, so now like Foden is going to get more playing time. Maybe even the new signing Torres. So I mean, I currently own KDB. I'm not really looking to bring in many other players. Maybe consider Foden just for his price point and that kind of budget midfielder option. But besides that, not really looking at anyone else.
I'm telling you guys, Foden's the real deal. That's all I'm saying. Foden's the real deal. Gash, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, to try to take a stab at what's going on in Pep's mind, which is really a shot in the dark at any time. I think we're going to see Sterling lining up at striker for a majority of the league games, while Jesus and Aguero are out. I don't think that necessarily makes me want to bring him in. Because I would rather have I think KDB's more nil to get those points in terms of creating and finishing off some of the chances, where Sterling won't really be creating anything, and I don't like him too much as a finisher of, he's not really a clinical finisher in my mind. He blows away some easy chances. So I am also thinking of, as you guys mentioned, Foden too. He's a player who for 6.5 million, you can't really ask for much more. I mean, it's frustrating to own him because if he's not starting, it's an annoyance to have him in your starting squad and to spend that money on him. But then when he does start or comes on at like halftime or something and scores or gets a brace and bags an assist, then you're so super excited with that. So it's kind of a case of sticking with him through the tough times to get all the good returns he brings, which I think why people are still trying to get him in at 6.5 million. We'll see what happens once Bernardo Silva, and I think Gundogan is also injured. So we'll see if he continues getting the same number of minutes when they come back.
Yeah, I mean, when they come back, I guess it's kind of up in the air. But I think for the foreseeable future, for about the next month or so, he should be getting pretty consistent minutes. I feel really good about him. I felt good about him all year. What do you guys think about like having him and then like a 5 or 5.0 option? And then, like start the 5.0 option and then see if Foden comes in and like kind of rotate them on a basis like that. You think that'd be worth it?
Nah, you're trying to beat Pep at his own game, and I think that's just going to end up in more frustration.
C4, I know you're pretty high on Raheem Sterling, so tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, as my pick to be the highest scoring FPL player this year, feel pretty good about this. Especially for a couple of reasons, being that I think there was some question if KDB was the only rotation-proof player on City. I think if there was any doubt, this makes Sterling that much more important to their lineup with all the injuries they have right now, and also in terms of with now how when it's Sterling and Sterling and Foden both in the lineup, and Sterling is supposed to be playing that number 9. The two of them will free roam between each other, and that frees up a lot more creativity, which I think is important for someone like Sterling. In terms of bringing Foden into the lineup, I was thinking about this last night, and I really don't like it because personally, one, I think if you have a player at 6.5, I don't think you want them as someone who can be going out of your lineup due to Pep rotation, BS. And then the other part of my mind was, do I really want to be spending that much on my 4th midfielder? Because there's a bunch of players I'd rather have, like a James Rodriguez at that like 7.5 mark. That are my 3rd midfielder. So to be paying 6.6 now for my 4th, I don't really like that. Especially when I was really thinking last night, like when Aubameyang already has good fixtures, how are people going to fit him back into the lineup? I don't have an Arsenal asset. I don't have a Man U asset right now. Now I need to think about spending 6.6 on my fourth midfielder. I just don't like it in my mind.
Wow, we almost lost you a couple of times there, but I think you I think the signal stayed just enough to hear you out and get all your points in. So that was good.
Hey, that's all that matters, right?
Okay, that one didn't really work. All right, so let's move on from City to Wolves. Wolves had a surprising showing last weekend. They lost 4-0. Not something a lot of people saw coming. And Podence was not in the squad either. He was scratched with an injury, so didn't even make the bench. So some worry there. I brought him in last week, so I'm upset. But Tazz, give us your reactions to Wolves losing 4-0, and if you have any words on Podence.
Well, that loss kind of made me feel a bit better about not bringing in Jimenez in right before the deadline, as well as also during after when Werner dropped in price. I mean, I never really thought of bringing Podence in. I'm kind of looking elsewhere, trying to see how kind of riding out the ASM injury. Not sure when he'll be back, but playing kind of 4 defenders in the back. They have somewhat good fixtures, so to me, it's not the biggest worry. As for some people that brought in Podence. Besides that, I don't think really kind of Wolves' loss to West Ham. It's kind of surprising at the same time. It's not something to worry about. A lot of people are still going to transfer him for this upcoming gaming. He has like really good 4 fixtures coming up, all pretty easy with a difficulty rating of like 2. So yeah, I mean, to me personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but definitely happy since I don't own any Wolves or West Ham assets that kind of paid out for me well.
Yeah, his next 4 game weeks are Fulham, Leeds, Newcastle, and Palace. That's for Jimenez. So I did bring him in, but I didn't have him last week. So I think he's still a good option moving forward. I think that was a pretty shocking loss, honestly. West Ham have not been great in the past few years at all. And yeah, I just didn't see that coming. Gasch, what are you thinking, bro?
Yeah, so like Tazz mentioned, he didn't do is exactly what I did do. I transferred out Werner after Chelsea's game Saturday and brought in Jimenez before Wolves played on Sunday. And then I saw the 4-0 scoreline, and I was like, wow, maybe that wasn't the best choice. But then I thought about it, and I'm actually still glad that I did it. First of all, I beat the price rise and fall, so I caught the Jimenez price rise and missed the Werner price fall. We'll talk a little bit more about Chelsea later, but I just didn't like the way that Werner looked. And I think Jimenez is he scored a couple of goals already, and his fixtures, like you mentioned, over the next 4 games, and then even afterwards, he has Leicester in that 5th game, so a pretty tough game. But then he has Southampton in the 6th game, who have chipped off like a decent number of goals to teams like Spurs, with Son running in behind the high defensive line. And I could see Adama Traore or someone having a field day with that Southampton back line. So I think the game was a fluke against West Ham. I'm hoping the game was a fluke because I now have Mendes in my team. But I think they'll, bounce back. And if it continues another week or 2 is when you start to worry about the Wolves as a whole. Yeah,
it's got to be a fluke. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. They were pretty consistently very good most of last season. So yeah, I'm expecting this to just be a little bump in the road. C4?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm still with you guys.
I don't know. You looked a little fuzzy there for a second.
Just on Wolves, don't worry about it. Most top teams have one weird game of season where you go, what the fuck was that? That was their what the fuck was that game. I mean, it'd be easy to panic over, they've lost Doherty, they've lost Jota. Like, it'd be easy to be a little worried, but just don't. Wolves are a good team with good depth. The only thing I'm looking out for is I really, really want Podence in before Wolves had their great run of fixtures. I just don't know if it's worth using a risky transfer on him before he's confirmed to be back in the
Yeah. I have Podence. I'm a little scared, though, moving forward. There were some rumors, not very concrete, though, that they were looking into Douglas Costa. I don't really see that happening, but just the fact that they're looking into other attacking options makes me worry a little bit for the future of Podence in that squad. Some people thought it was just a flash in the pan start, maybe that is what it was. We'll have to wait and see. Especially with this injury, it's going to be tough. If he's injured for a couple more weeks and they do bring somebody in, that's probably it for opponents as far as FPL relevance goes for this year. So something to keep an eye on for sure. Like I said, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but that means they're looking. So we'll see something develops over these next 5 days. I think we got 5 days till the transfer deadline, right? Maybe 4 by the time you guys are listening. But yeah, so let's move on from Wolves to Chelsea. Chelsea had an awful start, losing 3-0 within 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't remember exactly, but I know we were all excited. Gasch, you put out that message. You said, I don't even give a fuck that I captained Werner. This is awesome. So that was cool. Yeah, I felt the same way. Love seeing Chelsea shit the bed a little bit. But in the second half, they came back. But they did it without their main FPL assets. So, how are you guys feeling about Chelsea assets? I sold off Werner this week. I'm kind of done with them for a while, at least until Pulisic comes back. That's what I'm thinking. I think he's the guy who really makes that midfield tick. But let's go with Tazz. What are you thinking, bro?
Yeah, I think I still have Werner in my team right now, but he's on the chopping block. I think I'm going to transfer him out this week. Still debating who exactly bring in for him. Ings, Jimenez are good options, or one of the Everton strikers of Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin. So, they looked. Werner was unlucky to hit the crossbar, but he still has pretty decent underlying stats, and finally scored in the cup game. So maybe he'll, that kind of breaks the seal and he'll score more in the league. But I just think at this point, it's I kind of give it enough time. It's want to see other people.
Sorry, the Yankees just hit a grand slam. Freaking out a little bit here, but
Oh, cool! Is this the FPL baseball hotline?
Dude, it's so hard for me to be recording with the playoff game at the same time. I have no idea. Holy shit! They're down 4-1. Now it's 5-4. All right. So let's keep talking about Chelsea. Gash, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think I have a theory on why Werner is not doing too well. I think he's going to struggle until Chelsea can shore up their defense at least somewhat. I think Chelsea are going to keep leaking goals, and sometimes it's going to be at the start of a game, they'll be down 1-0 or 2-0 or something, and another team is just going to be content with sitting back and playing a deep defensive line, and Werner doesn't really shine against teams like that. He does best against teams he can play a high line that he can run in behind against. So the reason why I sold him was firstly because of that, and secondly because I want to wait until. By the way, we just lost C4. If you're watching this on a podcast, his little video just dropped off. But I'd want to wait until either at least one of Pulisic and Ziyech come back to start providing him with service. The other thing is when Chelsea were chasing the game against West Brom, Werner was not playing as the striker up top. He was dropping pretty deep, and he picked up balls from the defense at some points, which you just would not expect from a 9.5 million striker option. He should be right up there next to goal. The one thing I will say about Chelsea is that if they can tie up that defense and stop giving away goals, Reece James might be a very viable asset. He gets forward a lot and does create a decent number of chances, but at this point, you're not really going to get the clean sheet points from him. So if he can start adding those to his game, then I think he's one to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I like him a lot. But as long as they're giving up 3.5 goals to West Brom, I'm not feeling comfortable with a Chelsea defensive asset.
Not at all.
But let me see. I think we got C4 back. We got C4 back without video, so that's fine. C4, you didn't miss your turn. You there, bro? Can you hear us? All right, so maybe not. Maybe we didn't get C4 back. Should I do a C4 impression and talk about Chelsea?
I think Chelsea are going to have a very bad season.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
All right, let's. I guess we'll just skip them. We talked about Chelsea enough. Let's move on. Hopefully he joins us. I don't know what's good with this. I'm gonna remove him from the stream. Let him rejoin back again. Maybe that's the problem. So let's move on from Chelsea to Manchester United. The return of Bruno Penandes this weekend, and an update on Manchester United. Tazz, you mind if we start with Gash on this one? He looks a little excited.
Yeah, go for it.
Woohoo! So, great United. Well, I almost had a heart attack during the game, but afterwards I was happy with the 3 points. It was a tough game. Brighton is actually one of the teams where you think they're going to roll over, but they'll always, at least recently, come at you and play their own style. They're not really going to sit back. They're a team that likes to get their outside fullbacks forward and create a lot of chances. And they did create a lot of chances and were actually very unlucky. They hit the woodwork something like 5 times. So it was not a game of, United, Brighton only got 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals. If anything, that was United in that game, who did not really create too much and scored a couple of goals. And then the return of Bruno Fernandes is the correct pronunciation, if I may say so. But yeah, just a very late last gasp winner. So I would say, off the back of that and off the back of their Crystal Palace game, that it's still not really time to bring in the United assets. They have a tough next 5 or so fixtures, facing some hard teams in there. At this point, Martial isn't really looking like he's getting too much service. If anything, Bruno might be the one to bring in because of the increase in penalties and him being the number 1 taker. And he got an assist to Rashford as well, a very nice pass. So he would be the one, I think, to who's going to be finishing some of those penalties off and also just creating a lot of the chances for the rest of the team.
Yeah, upcoming fixtures not awful, but with their current form, definitely a little worrying. But if they can pick it back up to where they were at the end of the year, it's not too bad. Next few fixtures are Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton. That's definitely tough, but if they're playing like they were post restart, that shouldn't be like awful for them.
We'll see if it comes back.
Yeah, good point about Bruno. But they did say that they were gonna be a little tougher on the penalties this weekend, right? The Premier League came out and said that they were gonna watch out for that a little more. They talked to the referees about it, so I don't know if we're gonna see a difference that quickly. But this last weekend was ridiculous. The first 3 weeks have been ridiculous.
You mean like more lenient, right? In terms of like the handball stuff, they're not gonna. I think that what.
Yeah, like they'll call them less, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that they put that out in a statement yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe. So I feel like maybe for this week, the refs will be like really, keeping that in mind. Yeah, like overcompensating for that. But that's just 1 game week. We'll see if things change with that because it's been ridiculous so far. Definitely increasing the value of all the penalty takers. C4, welcome back, buddy.
Sorry, I was.
You want to go next?
By Bear, am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
You look as good as ever.
Fuck you too. About Chelsea when we left. I guess we're talking about United now, right?
We are. Yeah, you missed your Chelsea turn.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Gash did a killer impression though.
Of me? Oh, that's so.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
It was probably
like,
"Ooh, I'm so smart."
Yeah,
just Chelsea, like United, are still another team that I wouldn't buy an asset on. Only asset I would buy out of the 2 teams going forward is when Pulisic is back, and that'd be upgrade on James and not a detraction from a City or a Liverpool midfield asset.
Mm-hmm.
Short.
Tazz,
sweet.
Tazz, where's your head at?
So I mean, owning Bruno, definitely would keep him, bringing him in. Gash said the next kind of 5 fixtures are somewhat difficult, but I feel like if Man United, I think they should pick it up, and I believe kind of can expect like returns almost like every other game at least. That's like a bare minimum. I currently own Rashford. I brought him in for Son back in like 2 game weeks. Missed the haul from Son, but Rashford did return a goal last game. I'm still gonna keep him. He's just gonna stay on my team for these next upcoming 9 fixtures. I'll be happy if he returns over the next 9 fixtures. He returns like at least like 5 attacking returns. So my head's at they did say the penalties they're gonna be more lenient with them, but I still believe owning penalty takers is key for right now, at least with the amount of penalties are being given. So besides if right now Son, the possible Son injury, maybe if you had the extra 5.5 million, I would bring in Rashford. Otherwise, I think Bruno's the way to go, and Martial's and Greenwood are kind of like stay away right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on from one United to the other. Let's talk about the state of Sheffield United. Pretty poor so far this season. They are 0-3, right? All 3 losses. Hold on, let me pull up their stats here. They don't have a single outfield player with more than 5 FPL points this year. Their highest scoring FPL player is their goalkeeper, Ramsdale, with 7 through 3 game weeks. So if you have a Sheffield United player on your team, might be a good time to get rid of them because things are not looking good in Sheffield. Tazz, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone will own attacking Sheffield player, especially not now since they have yet to score a goal in the first 3 game weeks. But
I think some people had Lundstrom though. I think there was like 20% maybe had Lundstrom, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
I think
like
they just saw the number of points he scored last season and didn't realize that he was like reclassed
Yeah.
as a midfielder or
Yeah.
anything.
It must have been some like beginner players, you know?
Yeah. But also, we believe like some of their defensive assets would have been good, but not having I feel like having a goalkeeper definitely changed the much, and also they weren't like they faced some teams that they should have kept clean sheets against, and now like I would definitely stay away from all of them, any Sheffield player.
Yeah. Gash?
Yeah, let me pat myself on the back and say at the start of the season that I was not very keen on owning Ramsdale. He looked to me a worse keeper than Henderson had been, so I thought the defense was going to drop off, and it has. I mean, maybe they were unlucky to have a red card against Villa. Not unlucky in terms of the red card itself, but unlucky in terms of playing with one. So just a little bit of something there to keep in mind. But their next 5 fixtures, 4 of them are Arsenal away, Liverpool away, City at home, and Chelsea away. So I would say this might be a good time to start, thinking about getting rid of some Sheffield assets. And if they start somehow pull off a couple of clean sheets here, or one player starts returning, which I don't think any of one of their attackers will, then maybe if you're planning on wildcarding later around like game week 10 or something, you could bring someone back in, but I would not back them over the next 5 or so game weeks at least.
Honestly, I think if you still have a Sheffield asset at this point, it's time to start thinking about packing it up and just quitting for the year. You should not have any of these guys.
That'll probably help my overall rank. So,
one player I do want to mention though, if they do get Ryan Brewster on that loan, he would be the only one that I would consider. But it's not even close to a here we go that he's going there or anything. So that's all. C4.
I mean, yeah, I would just say it's tough to expect any Sheffield FPL asset to do well, considering their goalie plays for them and Bournemouth. Like, that's a very tough gig.
If you guys don't know, that's a little shout out to one of our guests who didn't realize Bournemouth were relegated. But yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So let's move on to the big Monday night football match from this week: Liverpool and Arsenal. Tough result for me and Tazz to take there. But any main takeaways from the game? And let's talk about the debut of Diogo Jota. It's Jota, right? Fuck, I was like 2 in my own head. Like I had it before I pronounced it, and then I just messed it up. So Tazz, what are your takeaways from the match?
I was just sad because I lost the bet. But besides that, I mean, Liverpool looked like the title-winning team they were last season. Arsenal, I feel like had bright chances at some points. But in terms of assets, I don't have the Liverpool double up in defense, so I was really happy with that goal. It would definitely help you in my overall rank more than hurt me owning Trent and not getting those points. Another big thing I saw was that for Liverpool, it's Mane and Salah kind of take turns being like kind of hauling some of these games, but almost every game it feels like the back line of Trent and Robertson are always involved in goals. So kind of for people who did double up on them are holding points from the Robbo goal and the Trent assist. So it's kind of like I feel like one thing I was going to say about this is that if you are wildcarding right now, I would definitely consider the double up on them.
Yeah, I actually got a little bit worried about the Liverpool double up when I was doing my wild card. I considered like dropping one of them down to Castagne or something, but thank God I didn't, because that Liverpool double up is sweet. Gash, you got some more for us?
Yeah, I gave the 2 thumbs up for everyone listening on the podcast that couldn't see because when Taz mentioned the Liverpool double up, I think this game highlights exactly what that gets you. So even when they're playing a team like Arsenal, who you would think is who is a tough match, they still have the potential when the clean sheet gets wiped to have attacking returns. Because so often, you see either one of them or both of them at the same time just bombing down the line and whipping a ball in, or even like Robertson got on the end of the pass from Trent, which was really funny to see and great because it got me those points. I think in terms of Jota, he's only one to keep an eye on if Mane or Salah get a long-term injury. I could see him being used as a Firmino replacement too, and Klopp switching it up a little, but I think Minamino is more of the Firmino replacement, and Jota is for Salah or Mane and one of the wings. So if one of those two get hurt for, I would say, more than 3 weeks or more than a month, then he might be worth bringing in for that short amount of time, just as a starter in that Liverpool attack.
You still think it's Minamino over him for the Bobby backup?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what Klopp's been trying to do, and that's the way their rotation works there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how they use Jota, but I feel like with his experience, he has a chance to earn a bit more minutes there. And he did look good. He scored the goal. And good point about Robertson, too. He made the mistake early on, leading to the Arsenal goal, but he made up for it with a goal of his own. C4, any big takeaways from the match?
Still high on Robertson, still low on Arsenal, same old Arsenal. But I wouldn't read too much into Jota. I think, like Gash said, he's just going to be a rotational player for if there's an injury or if it's a matchup right before a Champions League game or something.
Yeah, he's at 6.3, so not awful, but not something worth keeping on. You might as well go Foden then. Let's move on again to Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin continued his hot streak yet again midweek. He just scored a hat trick today in the Carabao Cup. Unreal what this guy has been doing so far this season. His underlying stats show a little bit cause for concern, right? Isn't that what we were talking about last week? We weren't super high on him, but he just keeps scoring. There's nothing else to say besides he just keeps scoring. So let's talk about some DCL, and let's also mention that Allen and Richarlison picked up some injuries. Not sure yet how serious those are, if there's any doubt for Richarlison this weekend. I don't know if you guys have heard anything yet. Maybe you can inform us, but Taz, get us started here.
Yeah, no, Dominic Calvert-Lewin keeping up his hot streak definitely is kind of why I'm considering bringing him in for Werner this upcoming game week. It kind of shows, he was kind of cold towards the end of last season, but then bringing in Allen and James definitely helped out the midfield be more creative and solidify their possession more for Everton. So I think he's kind of Richarlison has been unlucky. I think he has more shots and more touches in the penalty box than Calvert-Lewin does. So kind of unfortunate not to score as many goals as he does, but he kind of just fits that Everton team right now and just kind of tapping in those goals, kind of like a poacher.
Yeah, big time poacher. Gash?
Yeah, I think I made the point last week on the podcast, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But I think one thing people are forgetting is that a player like DCL isn't going to have, the numbers of touches in the box or necessarily even shots in the box that a Richarlison or some of these other players are going to have, because he's really somewhat of a poacher, but also just a one-time finisher type player. So I know Ancelotti's been saying that DCL's been working on his one-touch finishing specifically. So I'm not really too surprised by him getting into really good positions. Either out-leaping the defender or just kind of knowing where to be in the 12-yard, within the penalty spot to the goal or within the 6-yard box. In terms of the injury to injuries to Richarlison and Allen, I think DCL can continue producing without Richarlison. For me, at least, it seems like his link up with James is the most important to his goal scoring streak so far. I think the injury to him might actually be something to watch out for, because he's kind of been pretty pivotal and pretty quiet in that Everton midfield because he's not one of the big players that's scoring all the goals or creating all the chances. So there's a potential for a drop off there, like almost like a Leicester side when they were back a few years ago, like losing Conte before he was really well known. It's kind of like the little engine in the midfield of the team. And then back on DCL, I just have to keep thinking about every time he can't keep scoring. He can't keep scoring. But that's one of the traps of FPL is to get stuck in a thought like that and never being able to change your mind and then losing out on all those points. So he really reminds me of Nikica Jelavic that used to play for Everton, who scored something like I think he scored 20-something goals in a row with one touch. So I could see DCL going on maybe not as long of a run as that, but something similar.
That's absurd. I've never heard that. Wow.
Yeah. I think it was around the beginning of the 2010s that he played for Everton.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Allen being out is a big deal. I've rated him for a while. He definitely makes that midfield tick. They're going to be missing him. Do you think that increases the value of James moving forward these next few weeks? Do you think they'll slide him back a little bit more into a more number 8 role like they were talking about, or do you think he'll stay forward and keep getting those attacking returns for us?
I think he'll stay forward, keep cutting inside off the right wing. I think Ancelotti really, really wants him to play there, so he's not going to sacrifice that, and he's going to realize that James is why try to fix something that isn't broken. Just try to maybe slide someone into Alon's spot and then keep James where he's been doing so well.
C4?
Sorry, Everton plays Liverpool in 2 weeks.
Yes, it's not this upcoming week.
Enjoy your Everton FPL assets until then. That's my take. Right? It's a hot streak. It'll end then.
It'll be over. Like even after that, it's done.
I think after that, that's when it's come back down to earth. You won't see this continued hot streak, and you won't see people continue talking about like Everton double or triple up. I think after that, most people will be satisfied with either one of Calvert-Lewin or James, and then this whole Everton hot streak gets put to bed.
I mean, after Liverpool, they got Southampton, Newcastle, United, Man United, Fulham, and Leeds. So, that's not like an awful stretch.
Hey, Newcastle can fuck a team up, so don't disrespect my boys like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we got some. All right, everyone, warning at home: do not listen to his advice. He's just on here as entertainment.
I mean, he's the highest score in 1 out of 4.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was crazy using my triple captain.
That shows FPL has luck in it, right?
Yep. Do we have a timetable on the injuries to Richarlison and Allen? Have you guys heard of it?
I don't believe so.
As of recording Wednesday night, I think the latest that was said was Ancelotti said they would be checked out Thursday morning by the medical staff.
So I didn't watch the match. Were they both playing and both had to leave with injuries, or what was the deal?
Yeah, I think Richarlison tweaked his ankle, and I think Allen was something with his abductor or something.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what an abductor is, so it sounds serious.
No, the way he was speaking, it wasn't too bad for either of them, at least preliminarily. So we'll see what they can kind of figure out tomorrow morning.
All right, sweet. So that about does it for that. That's all the main topics of the show. So let's move into the Game Week 4 captain picks. Tazz, who you got this week?
So I'm kind of between Salah. I think I'm going to go with Salah. KDB is kind of an enticing pick also, playing Leeds, and Salah playing Aston Villa. Villa have I think they kept already 2 clean sheets out of their first 2 games. They had the blank game week 1, I believe. But I think Liverpool's just going to walk all over them. So, but if I didn't have, if I had Ings or Jimenez, I would consider those 2 players also a lot. Jimenez, especially playing a Fulham team that kind of just at home, which kind of look they gave away 3 goals in their last game last week, and then Southampton playing West Brom, who also shipped away 3 goals. So it's kind of I think that I'm going to go with Salah, but if I did have Ings or Jimenez, those would be in my consideration.
Gash?
Yeah, I have Jimenez, and I'm not really considering captaining him, just because of the fact that he's more of a consistent goal scorer than someone with like a huge haul potential in any given game week. Between of the players that I have that I'm considering captaining, I think it's really between De Bruyne and Salah. I'm kind of leaning towards De Bruyne for now, because the way Leeds like to play is a very open style. So I think he'll have a lot of space in the middle of the field. And if Bielsa tries to pack that middle of the park, I think De Bruyne is one of the players where you're going to need some luck on your side, along with all the skill of you and defensive setup to stop him. So I think if players, if he does get man marked or something like that, I think that'll free up more space for Mahrez or whoever.
Would you say more space for Mahrez? You froze a little bit.
Oh, yeah, sorry. More space for him to play passes in behind for Sterling or Mahrez.
Okay.
So I think at this point I'm leaning De Bruyne, but I wouldn't be surprised if I captain Salah.
C4?
Yeah, to me, it's either Salah or Sterling. I'm purely going Sterling just because I think Leeds are a worse team defensively than Aston Villa this season.
Mm-hmm. If I were you, I would go Sterling. I think Sterling's a good option for this week.
But just watch. Che Adams against West Brom is going to do some crazy shit, and we're all going to be...
I hope so. I still have him. I'm still waiting.
I think I'm betting on him to score this game week.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I might have to sign up for that betting website and take that bet. But yeah, so like I said, I expect a better week from Sterling than De Bruyne, and I have De Bruyne and Salah. So because of that, I'm going to go with Salah against Aston Villa. He hasn't. Let me see. Yeah, the first week he had 20 points, and then the last 2 weeks 3 and 5. So I just think he's due. I know there's not much science behind that, but. Is there really that much science you can put behind a captain pick anyway, right? I feel like most of the time it's like a gut thing.
Yep.
You can collect as much information as you want, but it's still going to be luck at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You'll know which player will return.
Mm-hmm.
The science behind a captain pick is how many drinks you have on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think right now I'm going to go with Salah, unless I hear anything different coming from Man City. Yeah. And lastly, do we have any final thoughts? Gash, I know we skipped you a little earlier. There was something you wanted to say. Still want to say it?
Yes.
I shouldn't have.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for Jadon Sancho will hopefully be joining Manchester United in the next 5 or so days before the transfer deadline on Monday. I think if he doesn't join, it was the fault of either Woodward or the Glazer family not wanting to stump up the cash, because apparently bidding 115 million euros is massively different than bidding 120 million euros, and there's 5 million euros of savings there. The other thing I want to say, kind of on a different note, is I would really encourage anyone and everyone to save their wild cards for as long as possible. Sorry, Tomo.
No, I agree. That's great advice. That's great advice.
I think because of the nature of the season, with how COVID is and how players seem to contract it at a much, much higher rate during the last international break, right before the season started. So we have this current international break coming up, and I think that, of course, it's like an exponential thing where if one player catches it, it's so much more likely for the rest of the players on that team to catch it. So I think it's going to be really useful in terms of planning around any unexpected emergencies like that.
Yeah, we got news yesterday that Thiago from Liverpool tested positive, but no news yet for any other Liverpool players. Something to keep an eye on, and keep an eye on some Arsenal players as well, because they did just play at the weekend. So yeah, but nothing so far yet. I feel like we would have heard about it if there was a big outbreak at this point. But this is a weird disease, so maybe not. I don't really know. Anything else, Tazz? C4?
No, not really.
I just want to say I believe in Phil Foden, big time. That's going to be my closing thoughts right there, is bring Foden in. All right, so that about does it for episode 8 of FPL Hotline. As always, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. I always say that we have daily FPL content, but we've been slacking a little bit this week. Sorry about that. We're going to get our shit together, and we'll do some good stuff on there for you guys. Let's check the mini league standings real quick. I just want to shout out whoever is in like the top 3 places. Give me 1 second here. All right, so in first place we got Nick H, second place Stefan Soli, and third place C4. So well done, C4.
Ew.
And And just for fun, let's see where the rest of us are.
I feel like you should shout out 35th place, like just off the top of my head.
And in 35th place, Gasch United.
Yeah, it's pronounced Gachester.
And 2 points above that in 33rd place, we got FC Tomo. And where's Tazz? Is Tazz?
We don't have to discuss that.
Tazz, where are you, bro?
You need another monitor?
Tazz, you're not even on the first page. I have to load the second page.
You know, our league is so big. Our league is so big that, a lot of good competition.
Tazz, you are in 52nd place out of 73 teams.
All right.
Tazz, maybe next year, dude.
Yeah, time to wrap it up, Tazz.
Tazz, you know we're in a draft fantasy league too. You should probably just focus on that this season,
dude. I haven't checked that draft league since we drafted.
Did you pay Tazz the money?
Yeah. Tazz, did I? Oh my god! Wait,
everyone, don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm an 8th out of 8.
Wow, what a surprise!
Oh man! All right, so I guess I just found out I have a draft team to take care of now.
I wish you didn't say anything if you paid him already.
I would not have touched it for like another 3 weeks at least. I totally forgot we did that. Oh my god. Yeah. So follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you have any questions, call the hotline and maybe we'll play your voicemail. I've been wanting to do that for 8 episodes now. I really just want to play somebody's voicemail on the show. So please, somebody call and say something interesting, and we will play your message. Otherwise, just leave us a question in the replies or DM us, whatever. We got you. If you need any last-minute advice, hit us up. We'll try to get back to you. And good luck to everybody this game week, and we'll see you guys next week. Later, guys.
Peace.